There are moments in life when the soul crosses a threshold, an invisible point of no return, where nothing remains the same. It's not a loud or dramatic shift, but a silent, irreversible transformation that changes everything. This crossing marks the beginning of a new path, one that is rich with awareness and a profound awakening. To recognize that you've crossed that threshold is an act of courage and truth, because it means accepting that your life has changed forever. The first sign appears when you realize you can no longer live the way you used to. The old habits, beliefs, and patterns that once held you together begin to lose their meaning. As Carl Jung would say, this moment is part of the process of individuation. The moment when the soul begins to separate from the shadows of the past and emerge into its true essence. You no longer feel satisfied with superficial answers or surface-level experiences. That internal discomfort, that feeling that something is missing, is the first real indication that you've crossed the threshold. It's a deep inner calling that resonates in every fiber of your being. You start to feel disillusioned with what once gave you comfort, as if the structures that once provided safety now feel like cages. The spiritual threshold you've crossed begins to push you toward a life of deeper meaning and authenticity, even if it means walking into the unknown. This transformation isn't just mental, it's vibrational. Your energy no longer aligns with the things that used to feel normal. A space opens up within you, inviting you to let go of what no longer serves your growth and expansion. Carl Jung emphasized that separating from the shadow is essential to the birth of the true self. And although that process can be painful, it's also liberating and necessary. You begin to notice that what used to matter now holds less weight, and new values start rising from within you. Values that are more aligned with your soul's essence. It often feels like a symbolic death and rebirth. Something old must die, so that something new and more authentic can be born. Once you've crossed this irreversible threshold, every step forward becomes an opportunity to grow, to learn, to evolve. There's no turning back, because your soul has awakened to a new level of consciousness. The search for truth is no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. It becomes the compass that guides your every decision and movement. This inability to return to who you once were becomes a kind of anchor, keeping you grounded in your transformation. Each day, the old structures of identity begin to crumble, and in their place, a more authentic and aligned self begins to emerge. Yes, it's unsettling to break away from the familiar, but that's the sacred cost of attaining inner freedom. This shift penetrates not only your thoughts, but your body, your heart, and your spirit. Your body senses the change as a different vibration, a higher frequency that starts rejecting anything that no longer aligns with your evolution. Your heart begins to open to more meaningful experiences, and your spirit awakens to a wisdom that transcends logic and language. This integration is the true marker of a crossed spiritual threshold. What makes this crossing irreversible is that your soul has expanded, and that expansion cannot be undone. Processes have been activated within you that work on both conscious and unconscious levels, forever altering the way you perceive yourself and the world. Even when challenges arise, you're no longer willing to look away from the inner calling that guides your path. Your choices now reflect a deep alignment with values that were once buried or suppressed. Life begins to reveal itself with greater clarity, and although the road ahead is uncertain, there's a quiet confidence inside you that sustains each step. there's a growing certainty that this journey is not only real, it's necessary. The threshold you crossed is a portal into a fuller, more meaningful life. This awakening transforms everything, including your relationships and surroundings. What once resonated begins to fade, and in its place, new, more authentic connections emerge. Your energy changes. It becomes more refined, more radiant, and it attracts people and experiences that mirror this new version of you. The threshold is not just an internal experience. It begins to reshape your outer reality. What follows is a continuous invitation to dive deeper into self-awareness, to keep peeling away layers, and to discover the essential truth that has always lived inside you. It becomes a journey of continuous integration, where both shadow and light coexist in harmony. This balance allows your soul to shine in its full brilliance. You begin living a life where every moment is intentional, where presence is sacred, and where your connection to universal wisdom is renewed. You've crossed a point of no return, and in that surrender lies the beauty and power of your spiritual awakening. That irreversible crossing marks the beginning of a deep metamorphosis, one that reshapes every cell in your being. You no longer cling to fleeting certainties or the false securities that once defined your path. Instead, you embrace uncertainty as an open door to expansion and genuine growth. This awakening drives you to live with a new intensity, where even the most difficult experiences are seen as sacred opportunities to evolve. The awareness that comes after crossing that threshold is not static. It flows, it breathes, it constantly invites renewal. The old wounds become quiet teachers. The shadows you once feared now at a depth you never knew you were capable of. Carl Jung reminds us that individuation is a never-ending journey, a constant movement toward wholeness and authenticity. This irreversible transformation also connects you to broader dimensions of existence. You begin to sense a resonance with universal energies, a deep intuitive understanding that your life is part of something much greater than yourself. This connection strengthens your sense of purpose. It influences your decisions in a way that reflects the purest truth of your soul. In this new state, patience and self-compassion become essential. You understand that your journey is deeply personal and that every step, no matter how unsure or lonely it may feel, is valuable. Trust in the process sustains you. You know the threshold was never a barrier. It was a doorway to a more conscious life. Yes, this point of no return is, in fact, a new beginning. A beginning where authenticity, inner wisdom, and light unite to guide every movement, every thought, every breath. You've entered a sacred space where transformation is no longer optional. It's inevitable. And in that inevitability lies your true freedom. The second sign is when you begin to feel a much deeper connection with your intuition, and with it, a growing clarity in the decisions you make. It's not that the external world has become less chaotic, but rather, your inner world has begun to radiate a wisdom that surpasses confusion. You no longer doubt yourself as much as you once did, because a quiet, unwavering voice within you starts to guide your choices with conviction, like the echo of an ancient truth rising from the core of your being. Carl Jung understood this as a crucial part of the individuation process, that sacred journey toward becoming your true, whole self. It's when the unconscious begins to reveal its wisdom in your waking life, gently pointing you toward alignment and meaning. You feel this guidance not in grand revelations, but in the subtleties, in the calm certainty that washes over you before making a difficult decision. in the way your body relaxes when you choose what feels right, even if it defies logic. This is a sign that you've crossed a spiritual threshold and that your life is beginning to align more deeply with your essence and your higher purpose. The clarity you now experience within is not a random occurrence. It is the product of a profound awakening that bridges your conscious mind with the rich, intuitive depths of your unconscious. This inner voice, though quiet and often subtle, acts as a beacon. It shines through the fog of uncertainty and lights up the path that's meant for you. You no longer get lost in mental spirals or paralyzed by fear. Instead, you move forward with a grounded confidence that only comes from being in tune with your true self. This intuitive awakening enables you to notice signs and synchronicities that previously went unnoticed. Those moments when the universe seems to whisper, "You're on the right track." Life begins to speak to you in a clearer, more direct language, and you, in turn, learn to listen, not with your intellect, but with your heart wide open. You start trusting that each step you take is guided by a higher intelligence that sees farther than you can. Carl Jung described this as the emergence of archetypal wisdom, the timeless knowledge stored within the collective unconscious. This wisdom becomes accessible to those who dare to listen, to those who are willing to pause and truly connect with what lies beneath the surface. The trust that arises from this connection also begins to transform the way you face challenges and make decisions. You stop chasing answers in the outside world or relying solely on cold logic. Instead, you begin to act from a space of internal certainty and intuitive alignment. This inner shift elevates your frequency and propels you forward toward the destiny your soul came here to fulfill. In this process, intuition becomes your steady and loyal companion. It becomes a compass that guides you through the storms, a reminder of who you truly are, even when everything around you feels uncertain. The clarity that emerges from this signal is not just comforting, it's a confirmation that the spiritual threshold you've crossed is real, and that it's leading you toward higher levels of consciousness and personal fulfillment. This awakening of intuition doesn't just change how you perceive the world, it also redefines your relationship with yourself and with life itself. You begin to feel a deeper connection forming between your mind, your heart, and your soul. These aspects of yourself, once fragmented or at odds, now move together in a harmonious flow that guides every decision and every action with a clarity that once seemed out of reach. That inner voice you now hear more frequently and trust more fully becomes a bridge between the visible and the invisible, between your conscious awareness and the vast landscape of your unconscious mind. Jung referred to this bridge as the meeting with archetypes, those universal energies that offer wisdom, strength, and guidance to your personal journey. They are not abstract ideas. They are living symbols that awaken within you, offering direction and resonance as you navigate your path. As you open yourself to this inner flow, you begin to receive messages that don't just inform you, they inspire and empower you. This renewed intuition shields you from paths that are not aligned with your truth, and it gently steers you toward those that nourish your spirit. This inner guidance is a clear manifestation that the threshold you crossed is deep and transformative, and that you are now moving toward a life where your inner and outer worlds are increasingly in harmony. In this state of being, your self-trust grows naturally, and with it, your ability to live with authenticity and full presence. You no longer seek validation from others to confirm your choices. You stand in the knowing that each step is part of a larger divine design, one that your soul not only understands, but embraces fully. This awakening is a call to listen more deeply, to trust more profoundly, and to allow that inner voice to lead you toward the fulfillment of your highest purpose. It confirms that the spiritual threshold you've crossed has opened the path to a life that is more aligned, more conscious, and vibrating at a higher frequency than ever before. The third sign appears when you begin to feel a profound sense of detachment from situations, people, or beliefs that once held you tightly. You no longer feel the urgent need to control or possess anything. Instead, you allow life to unfold naturally, trusting its rhythm and wisdom. Carl Jung noted that conscious detachment is a clear sign of spiritual maturity and the crossing of a vital threshold as it frees you from the burdens that once held back the soul's expansion. This sign reveals that you've started to live from a lighter, freer vibration, one that aligns deeply with your inner truth. The sensation of deep detachment is not abandonment. It is a conscious act of release that redefines how you relate to the world and to yourself. You no longer feel trapped by the compulsion to control every part of your life or to cling to people, ideas, or circumstances that no longer resonate with your essence. Instead, you let everything flow in its own time and space, trusting that the universe moves in your favor, even through uncertainty. This detachment is not indifference, but rather a mature, conscious form of love that recognizes the impermanence of all things. Carl Jung taught that by releasing attachment, we make room for genuine inner freedom, allowing energy to expand and consciousness to rise. This liberation is a powerful sign that you've crossed an irreversible spiritual threshold. Living from this space of detachment allows you to observe life with greater clarity and serenity, no longer trapped by intense emotions or rigid expectations. The lightness that comes from letting go connects you with a higher vibration, a frequency where the soul is free to dance in wholeness and joy. This new state also reshapes your relationships and life experiences. You begin to attract more authentic connections and circumstances that reflect your elevated frequency. The energy you emit is no longer tinted by fear or anxiety, but infused with deep trust in the natural flow of life. Thus, conscious detachment becomes a clear sign that you've crossed that spiritual threshold, a decisive step into a life more true, more free, and in harmony with your highest purpose. It becomes a sacred gift you give yourself, to walk into the future your soul longs for, with power and lightness. In the act of letting go, you discover the freedom that is born when you release the need for control and place your trust fully in life's unfolding, guided by a wisdom that knows no error. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It is a gradual journey where you learn to discern what truly deserves your energy and what must be left behind. Carl Jung reminds us that this conscious detachment is a sign of profound spiritual growth, an invitation to live with an open mind and a light heart. It's the ability to flow with natural cycles, understanding that every ending creates the space for a new beginning. Practicing this detachment, you become less reactive and more observant. Anxiety, fear, and frustration slowly give way to a calm inner presence that holds your spirit. This peace no longer depends on external conditions. It's rooted in an inner vibration that reflects your connection to your essential truth. This new state of freedom also impacts your surroundings, drawing in people and experiences that resonate with your renewed energy. The quality of your relationships improves, and your daily life takes on a deeper and more enriching meaning. In this way, conscious detachment not only transforms your inner world, but also redefines the reality you live in. In essence, crossing this threshold invites you to live with authenticity, presence, and trust, leaving behind the chains that once restricted your growth. It's the turning point toward a fulfilled life, where freedom and love weave together to support your spiritual path with strength and clarity. By releasing the need to control or cling, you make space for new energies, opportunities, and people to enter, those aligned with your most authentic self. This act is a powerful declaration of trust in divine flow, a recognition that everything arrives at the perfect time for your evolution. The transformation that comes with this detachment doesn't just affect your external world, it reshapes your relationship with yourself. You no longer judge yourself for what was or what you once thought you needed. Instead, you accept yourself fully in each phase of your journey, with compassion and wisdom. Carl Jung emphasized the importance of this acceptance in the process of individuation, the journey of becoming whole. This new way of being, free from rigid attachments, allows you to live with deeper presence and mindful attention. Each moment becomes precious, experienced through authenticity and openness. The energy you radiate becomes magnetic and coherent, drawing toward you experiences that mirror your inner growth and nourish your ongoing evolution. The fourth sign appears when your perception of time and reality begins to shift in profound ways. You no longer see life as a straight line or a sequence of isolated events, but rather as a living tapestry where past, present, and future are intricately woven into an eternal now. This expansion of awareness is a clear indication that you've crossed an irreversible spiritual threshold. Carl Jung referred to this transformation as part of the luminous experience, where perception opens up to wider and more meaningful dimensions. It means your soul has begun to inhabit a deeper reality, full of symbols and invisible connections that once went unnoticed. This transformation in how you perceive time and reality is like waking up in a new universe where everything is interconnected, where each moment reflects infinity and every experience holds layered meaning. Time no longer feels like a limiting chain, but a dynamic flow in which past, present, and future are entangled in an eternal dance that sustains your very being. This expansion of consciousness allows you to see life from a broader, deeper perspective, where ordinary events reveal themselves as sacred symbols speaking directly to your soul. It's an awakening to the hidden magic in the everyday, to the presence of an invisible order that quietly guides and holds everything in place. Jung described this encounter with the luminous as a sacred presence that touches the depths of the psyche and existence. This new way of perceiving reality also transforms how you relate to time. You no longer feel the pressure of imposed deadlines or the urge to rush through processes that require their own sacred rhythm. Instead, you begin to align with the natural cycles of your soul, honoring the sacred time each phase of your life needs to fully unfold. This is a sign that you've crossed a threshold into a more conscious life, where every moment is lived with intention and full presence. Your soul starts to recognize the unseen threads that connect you with all that exists, and this awareness guides you toward a more integrated and harmonious existence. The intertwining of time and reality you now experience invites you to trust life's unfolding, to accept that every experience has a purpose and a rightful place in the sacred fabric of your path. Within this expanded awareness, you discover a deep freedom that transcends human limitations and connects you with the eternal essence of who you are. This expansion of consciousness that transforms your sense of time and reality isn't just a fleeting experience. It's a profound change that reshapes how you inhabit each moment. Now, every instant feels infused with meaning, as if the universe itself is speaking through signs and symbols only your soul can understand. This sensitivity to the invisible and the sacred links you with an ancient wisdom that surpasses the boundaries of logical thought. As you begin to perceive life as a living, interconnected tapestry, you start recognizing patterns and cycles that once escaped your notice. You understand that every challenge, encounter, and change is part of a greater design, a cosmic symphony where everything holds a place and a purpose. This understanding gives rise to an inner peace that doesn't depend on external conditions, but on a deep trust in the natural order of things. Jung taught that this experience of the luminous is essential for individuation because it allows the soul to open up to higher dimensions of meaning and being. In this expanded state, the human being can transcend fragmentation and find unity with the whole. Duality weakens here, and consciousness rises toward full integration. This shift also transforms your relationship with the ordinary. What once seemed mundane or insignificant now appears as a doorway to the transcendent. Daily life becomes a sacred ground for learning and growth, where every action and thought carries a real, vibrational impact. Living in this space of sacred time and expanded reality allows you to flow with greater grace and wisdom, responding to life from a place of deep presence and authenticity. You've crossed a threshold that invites you to live not just with the mind, but with a heart and soul fully awake, embracing the wonder and mystery of existence in every moment. This new way of inhabiting time and reality generates a vibrational shift that can be felt in every cell of your being. You don't just perceive life more deeply. Your entire presence becomes more authentic and powerful. Expanded consciousness frees you from the illusion of rigid control and invites you to dance with the natural flow of existence, in perfect harmony with the sacred rhythm of the universe. This elevated vibration draws experiences and people that resonate with your new frequency, creating a virtuous cycle of growth and expansion. In this state, intuition sharpens, synchronicities multiply, and your connection to inner wisdom deepens, nourishing your spiritual path with clarity and purpose. Carl Jung taught that crossing this threshold is essential for the full integration of the self, because only by recognizing and living in this expanded reality can we reach the wholeness and authenticity our soul longs for. Perceiving time as a living fabric opens the door to a life rich with meaning, where each moment becomes an opportunity to align with your deepest truth. This transformation also changes how you relate to your past and future. You stop being tied to limiting memories or expectations and learn to inhabit the present in its fullness. This expanded present becomes the sacred space where your soul can unfold completely, without distractions or resistance. Thus, crossing this threshold places you in a vibrational state where life is experienced as a sacred mystery, an eternal dance of light and shadow, inviting constant growth and awakening. In this new awareness, your soul finds the freedom to express itself in its full magnificence and beauty. And the fifth sign, though not the least important, is when you begin to notice a profound transformation in your sense of purpose and mission. You're no longer driven by the need to meet external expectations or conform to imposed rules. Instead, you align yourself with an inner calling that guides you toward your true essence. Carl Jung understood that crossing a spiritual threshold of no return means connecting with that inner voice that fuels the process of individuation and personal fulfillment. This sign reveals that you've entered a path of authenticity and a deep commitment to your spiritual evolution, where every step feels meaningful and truthful. That shift in your purpose arises from a deep connection with the core of your being, where external demands lose their grip and the true call of your soul becomes clear and unmistakable. You no longer act out of obligation to someone else's norms or to seek others' approval. You act to honor the genuine essence that drives you from within. This internal calling becomes a force that motivates you to live with coherence, integrity, and passion. Every choice and every action becomes a reflection of that sacred voice, leading you toward the fulfillment of your personal and spiritual mission. Carl Jung described this awakening as the process of individuation, where the human being becomes who they are truly meant to be, transcending conditioning and limitations. Once aligned with this purpose, you begin to feel a clarity and peace that once seemed unattainable. The path may come with challenges, but the inner certainty sustains each step, giving you the strength to move forward with confidence and resilience. This transformation not only benefits you, it radiates outward, inspiring and uplifting those around you. This sign is a powerful indication that you've crossed an irreversible spiritual threshold, a point where authenticity and devotion to your evolution become the driving force of your life. Living from this space is to embrace the truth of your soul and to walk with purpose toward conscious and complete fulfillment. You no longer seek external validation or let yourself be guided by social expectations. Instead, your focus turns inward, toward honoring that internal call that resonates with the very essence of who you are. This deep connection anchors you in an authentic frequency that energizes your every thought, word, and deed. This alignment with your spiritual mission gives you a sense of wholeness and direction that transcends everyday highs and lows. Carl Jung spoke of individuation as the process through which the soul finds its path toward wholeness. And this awakening to purpose is the tangible manifestation of that inner journey. Each step you take from this place of authenticity is an act of conscious creation, a manifestation of your deepest truth. At this stage, decisions are no longer based on fear or uncertainty, but on the trust and clarity that emerge from your center. Life begins to feel more fluid and meaningful, and even if challenges arise, you are certain that each experience brings you closer to the full realization of your essence. This transformation also impacts those around you, creating a resonant effect that inspires others to seek and live from their own purpose. In this way, crossing that irreversible spiritual threshold not only redefines your personal destiny, it contributes to the collective awakening and the weaving of a higher consciousness. In the authenticity of this new purpose, you find the strength to live with integrity, passion, and love, honoring both the light and shadow within you, and walking with courage toward the destiny your soul has always chosen. You've journeyed with me through a deep path, crossing that irreversible spiritual threshold that transforms the very essence of your being. Recognizing these signs is to embrace your truth, to accept the strength that arises from integration, clarity, detachment, expansion, and true purpose. This awakening marks the beginning of a fulfilling life, where every step resonates with the vibration of your soul. Allow yourself to move forward with courage, knowing that you've crossed a point of no return that leads you toward realization and profound authenticity. Your inner light is invincible, and your path is unique and sacred. If this resonated with you, don't leave as if it were just another video. This channel isn't for those just looking for pretty words. It's for those who are ready to bury their weaker, conditioned, and domesticated selves and walk straight into transformation. Subscribe if you're one of those souls. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any messages that can shake you up, awaken you, and free you. And if you want to leave your mark, leave this quote in the comments. Silence is my armor. Consciousness is my sword. That way, I'll know you stayed until the end. That you're not just anyone. That you belong here.